In this lesson, we will be placing components manually. The objective is to select, place, and move components interactively until all the active components have been placed. Open the Constraints.board. From the top menu, go to Setup, Application Mode, and then Placement Edit. That sets your environment. Then we want to go to Place Manually. And the browser menu appears. So we go to our browser window and we want to place U5, and this will bring you to the U's, and then you have to find the actual number by just scrolling down, clicking on U5, click the box, and your part appears. And now if we press an F2, that's a zoom fit, and we can click on our component again, and we want to rotate it. And we do that by right-clicking, going to rotate, and you see that you have a little string here that will move your component around and rotate it where you want it. That's about right. And maybe we can bring it down a little bit, right to about here, and we can move it around as we need it as we place more and more components. Right now I have my grids on. I think I'm going to turn them off, and we're just going to click this, and now we can see our board a little better. Another thing we want to do is make your ground and VCC nets colored. You might notice that you are interactively placing components that power and ground nets are not rat nested. A no-rat property is automatically added to the power and ground nets when the logic netlist is read into the database. This is done as a visual aid, assuming that these nets will automatically be routed to their respective internal planes. It is helpful to have these nets in a different color so that you know where to place the discrete components that are often assigned to those nets. Choose Display and Color Visibility, and click on Net. We want to find the net ground, and we can scroll down to find it, or we can just put GND and enter. Our ground, that we want everything checked. And what we'd like to do, though, usually I like to see ground as a green, and we can do that by, let's try maybe a little brighter green, and we'll put that right there. And the next thing we want to find is VCC. And we'll just type in VCC, and we see that that's right there, and let's click on that, and now we have them all red and green, and what we want those is red, and that takes care of that. And we can click OK to close the dialog box. And if we look at our component, we can see where the VCC pins are and where the ground pins are. Rather than using the rotate command from the pop-up menu each time you place an individual component, you can override the default orientation using the design parameter form. Choose Setup, Design Parameters, and open up the design folder. Notice you have several folders here. Design is what we want, and we want to go down to where it says angle. Notice the angle is right now is 0, 0, and let's change it to 180. And the default symbol height is 150, which is fine. And now any component that you pick up will be have an angle of 180. And let's try it out. And you can click OK. So let's go to our Allegro and we press F2, and that will show us the entire board. So we want to place our components, and we can do that by going to the match section, and if you put in U1 for instance and enter, U1 comes up. And if you want to do them all at once and you just wanted to go bright up all the U's, you go U and asterisk, and then all the U's come up. And since there are 4 that we need, we can go click on this one, this one, this one, and U4. So we go here. This one looks like it should go here. This one here. This one here, and here we're going. This is where we're going to move things around. Move that over here, and get a little bow tie here. But so one side is good, one side is bow tied, and we'll go and investigate that a little more in depth. Okay. And to make placement easier, we might want to change our grids to 100 mils. We do that by set up grids, and then where it says non-etch, let's change that to 100 and 100. And that being done, we can say OK. Now when we click on our components, you see that they're moving a little better, and actually you can see them lining up, and this one is lining up. And if we right click and we see there are options, go to dynamic alignment, we see that we did enable it, and that's why we can easily see that we have alignment in these 3 components. So once your parts are placed, you can easily move them around by clicking on this little move button here, and if you just click on one, you can see that it is moving around very nicely. And let's place it back. That's about it. We can see our alignment was correct. And sometimes you want to move parts by a group, and all you do is you click and make a box around all the parts you want to move. That highlights them all, and then just click anywhere, and now you can move them as a group. So again, if we press F2, we see that this is our whole board, and at this point let's save the board as partplace.board. File, save as, and this would be partplace.board, and you can save it. Partplace.board.